Today, we've got two major Broncos stories that could say a lot about where this team is headed. And honestly, Broncos country, I don't think either one should be taken lightly. It feels like we're getting closer to the point where this roster isn't just about adding talent anymore. It's about making some really difficult decisions. And when a team believes it's ready to compete at the highest level, those decisions become even tougher because every roster spot and every dollar matter. What's interesting is that today's news isn't just about one player or one position. It's about two completely different situations that could reshape parts of this team before the season even begins. One involves a player who has earned the respect of teammates and fans through hard work and consistency. The other could involve a surprising financial move that nobody expected just a few months ago. The big question is this: are these simply smart football decisions? Or are the Broncos preparing for something much bigger behind the scenes? We're going to break down both stories, explain why they matter, and talk about what they could mean for Denver's chances this season. But before we jump in, if you enjoy honest daily Broncos coverage from a fellow fan, I'd really appreciate you hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. Broncos Insider Daily is still a brand new community, and we're working toward our first 1,000 subscribers. If you want to be one of the fans who was here from the very beginning, we'd love to have you with us. So let's start with the first story, because this is one that could surprise a lot of Broncos fans. According to ESPN, Broncos insider Jeff Lil'Jordan, veteran wide receiver Lil'Jordan Humphrey is projected to miss the Broncos' final 53-man roster. And honestly, that's a pretty shocking prediction when you look at everything Humphrey has done for this team over the last few seasons. Lil'Jordan's projected roster keeps 5 wide receivers: Jalen Waddle, Courtland Sutton, Marvin Mims Jr., Troy Franklin, and rookie Pat Bryant. But the reason Humphrey gets squeezed out isn't necessarily because of his own performance. It's because Lil'Jordan believes Denver will keep 4 tight ends instead of 3. Those 4 projected tight ends are Evan Engram, Adam Troutman, Nate Adkins, and rookie Justin Joly, who would be the only rookie among the Broncos' 9 projected pass catchers. When you hear that, you can understand how difficult these roster decisions are becoming. Just a couple of years ago, Denver was desperately searching for reliable receivers. Now they're at a point where a respected veteran might not even make the team. And that's what makes this story even more interesting. Back on March 12th, the Broncos showed they still valued Humphrey by signing him to a new 1-year contract worth $1.48 million. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero even reported the signing by saying Humphrey remains one of Sean Payton's favorite players. And that shouldn't surprise anyone who's followed Payton's career. Humphrey originally played under Sean Payton with the New Orleans Saints from 2019 through 2021. And now he's back for another stint with the Broncos under the same head coach. Even after the contract was announced, some fans believed this situation could still end with Humphrey on the practice squad. Broncos Country, Germany, reacting on social media, pointed out that because the cap hit is very small, bringing Humphrey back didn't guarantee a roster spot. Their prediction was that he could begin the season on the practice squad and be elevated whenever needed. Looking back at Humphrey's journey makes this story even more compelling. After an outstanding final season at the University of Texas, where he caught 86 passes for 1,176 yards and 9 touchdowns, Humphrey entered the 2019 NFL Draft with plenty of momentum. But everything changed at the NFL Scouting Combine. His disappointing 4.75-second 40-yard dash caused his draft stock to collapse, and he ultimately went completely undrafted. Instead of giving up, Humphrey signed with the New Orleans Saints as an undrafted free agent, earning a roster spot under Sean Payton through hard work and determination before spending the 2022 season with the New England Patriots. His career has never been easy, and that's one of the reasons Broncos fans have always respected him. Things got even more interesting last year. In March of 2025, Humphrey signed a 1-year contract with the New York Giants after choosing their offer over Denver. According to longtime Broncos insider Mike Kliss from 9 News Denver, the Broncos actually wanted Humphrey back for a 3rd season. Humphrey's agent, Jimmy Gould, explained the decision by saying there was a lot of love and respect for Sean Payton and the Broncos, but they believed the Giants offered a better opportunity for Humphrey's future. That opportunity, however, didn't last very long. Humphrey was released during the Giants' final preseason roster cuts, returned to their practice squad, appeared in only 3 regular season games, and then the Broncos brought him back in November. Once he returned to Denver, he immediately became a valuable contributor again, finishing with 9 receptions for 101 yards and 1 touchdown in 7 games, including 2 starts. And Broncos fans know his value goes well beyond the box score. Back in 2024, Humphrey posted career highs with 31 catches for 293 yards while appearing in 34 consecutive regular season games across the 2023 and 2024 seasons. He's also one of the best blocking wide receivers on the roster. Football analyst Frankie Abbott even put together a lengthy video highlighting Humphrey's so-called dirty work. The run blocking, screen blocking, and physical plays that rarely show up in the stat sheet but help create explosive gains for the offense. Abbott even described him as one of Denver's best wide receivers after the catch because of everything he contributes beyond simply catching passes. That's why this prediction feels so difficult. If Jeff Legwold ends up being right, the Broncos wouldn't just be losing another receiver. They'd be losing one of the team's toughest, most selfless players. Someone Sean Payton has trusted for years, and someone who's willing to do all the little things that winning football teams need. Now let's move to the second story, because this one could have an even bigger impact on Denver's roster and salary cap. According to The Athletic's Nick Cosmodore, veteran left guard Ben Powers has emerged as a surprise cut candidate before training camp. At first, that sounds almost impossible. After all, the Broncos signed Powers to a four-year $51.5 million contract before the 2023 season after he spent his first 4 NFL seasons with the Baltimore Ravens, who originally selected him in the 4th round, 123rd overall, in the 2019 NFL Draft. But circumstances have changed. Cosmodore explained that Denver could save approximately $12.7 million in salary cap space by releasing Powers, and that money could become extremely valuable if the Broncos decide they need additional flexibility to pursue another impact player. Especially at edge rusher, if star Jonathan Cooper is no longer part of the team's long-term plans following his 2 off-season arrests. Cosmodore also pointed to another important factor. Ben Powers did not participate in the portions of Denver's offseason program that were open to the media while continuing to recover from the torn biceps that ended half of his 2025 season. Sean Payton addressed the situation by saying Powers is right on schedule with his recovery. But that's still something the coaching staff will continue monitoring during training camp. Meanwhile, another name has entered the conversation. The Broncos signed Alex Polshevsky to a 2-year contract extension back in March after he performed well replacing Powers at left guard last season. Throughout off-season practices, Polshevsky continued working with the first team at left guard, creating legitimate competition heading into camp. Cosmodore believes Denver may want to see both players compete before making a final decision. Unfortunately for Powers, criticism hasn't stopped there. Brad Gagnon of Bleacher Report recently ranked Ben Powers as the most overpaid player in the entire NFL. Gagnon argued that while Denver's offensive line remains one of the league's strengths, Powers has become the weakest link, pointing to his injury-shortened 2025 season, his lack of Pro Bowl appearances entering his age 30 season, and his $18.2 million cap hit, which ranks among the highest for left guards. The advanced numbers haven't helped his case either. According to Pro Football Focus, Powers earned an overall grade of 63.9 during the 2024 season, ranking 56th out of 138 qualifying guards. His grade dropped even further to 62.4 in 2025 before the injury ended his season early. Ironically, Powers actually helped the Broncos financially before the 2024 season by restructuring his contract. He added 2 void years to the deal and converted $10.875 million of his salary into a signing bonus, creating $8.7 million in salary cap space for Denver. The Broncos have also invested very little draft capital into offensive linemen during Sean Payton's tenure, selecting only Alex Forsyth in the 2023 draft and Nick Gargiulo in the 2024 draft. With both players being late-round selections, even Broncos Wire recently asked the question many fans are now wondering: is Ben Powers entering not only the final year of his contract, but possibly his final season in Denver? When you put both stories together, a clear picture starts to emerge. The Broncos believe they're ready to compete for something much bigger this year. This isn't the same Denver Broncos team we were talking about 2 or 3 years ago. Back then, the conversation was always about finding enough talent just to become competitive again. Now the conversation has completely changed. We're talking about cutting respected veterans, weighing major salary cap decisions, and asking whether proven contributors still have a place on a roster that's trying to compete for a Super Bowl. That's a completely different standard. The Lil'Jordan Humphrey situation is one that I know a lot of fans will be watching closely. He's never been the biggest name on the roster, but if you've watched every Broncos game over the last few years, you know exactly what he brings: toughness, effort, physical blocking, reliability. He's the kind of player coaches love because he'll do all the little things that never show up in fantasy football or highlight reels. If he does end up missing the final 53-man roster, I think a lot of Broncos fans are going to be disappointed. But at the same time, that's the harsh reality of having a deeper roster. Better teams are forced to make harder decisions. Then there's Ben Powers. This situation feels completely different because now we're talking about a starting offensive lineman with a significant contract and a potential cap savings of $12.7 million. Whether the Broncos actually move on from him will probably depend on two things. First, how healthy he looks once training camp gets underway after recovering from that torn biceps. Second, whether Alex Polshevsky proves he can handle the starting job over a full season. Sean Payton has never been afraid to make difficult personnel decisions. If he believes someone else gives this team a better chance to win, history tells us he'll make that move without hesitation. And honestly, that's probably the mentality Denver needs if they're serious about chasing a championship. The margin between a playoff team and a true Super Bowl contender is often built on decisions exactly like these. Every dollar matters. Every roster spot matters. Every competition matters. We'll find out over the next several weeks whether these predictions actually become reality. But one thing is certain. Training camp is going to be one of the most competitive we've seen in years, and that's exciting, because competition usually brings out the best in everyone. Now I want to hear from all of you. Do you think Lil'Jordan Humphrey deserves to make the final 53-man roster, or do you agree with Jeff Legwold's projection? And what about Ben Powers? Would you keep him for one more season, or would you make the difficult decision to save the $12.7 million and move forward with another option? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, because I know Broncos Country is going to have strong opinions on both of these stories. If you enjoyed today's update, don't forget to leave a like because it really helps the channel grow. And if you're passionate about the Denver Broncos and want honest daily coverage from a fellow fan, make sure you subscribe to Broncos Insider Daily. We're still a brand new channel, and our first big milestone is reaching 1,000 subscribers. If you want to say you were part of this community from the very beginning, now is the perfect time to join us. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and as always, go Broncos!